Have you ever come across somebody that thought all men are X, all women are what, all Arabs are this, all Muslims are something else, all whatever? Have you ever come across someone that assumed all category of people are bad? Well, first of all, I want to welcome you to another episode of Unconscious Communication Secrets. And today I'm going to be talking to you about a category in NLP, a category of the meta model. But before I do that, let me just tell you, let me give you an analogy. You see, sometimes some people have a bit of an experience in one area of their life, and they like to apply it everywhere. It's like this: someone that loves gold, and they start to apply it everywhere, even places that are a little bit shit, like this picture. But you see, it's like you take something from one area of your life and apply it to in all other areas, and we tend to do that. We tend to take one experience in our life and we generalize it in multiple areas of our life. It's one of the ways our brain functions. So today I'm going to be talking to you about an area, a category of NLP called generalizations. Now, all generalizations it's our brain is designed to function in that way, to generalize certain things. So for example, when you see a door, like, even though it's the first time that you're seeing a door, your brain has generalized that all doors function the same way. You pull down the thing and you walk in. So you've generalized. So our brain needs to generalize in order to make shortcuts, in order to make assumptions of how things work. That's how our brain is designed to behave. It's very useful in many areas of our life. However, at times, assumptions can cause us problems. Assumptions can cause us problems. Assumptions can make us look foolish, or assumptions can make us make the wrong decisions in our lives. And so understanding when we need to challenge it is very powerful skill. So I want to tell you, there's a comedian that came to Dubai, and it was his first time in Dubai. And in Dubai, we have a lot of foreign labor, okay? And a lot of the labor workers are, for example, from India, right? So a lot of the guys in the hotels that are at the reception, etc. And he went into one of the hotels and just assumed that this guy who was from India, he's assumed that he was working at the hotel, and he assumed that, like, this guy is, here, excuse me, sir, can you please come and take my bag? Because the guy is like dressed sharp, but obviously in a 5-star hotel, like, all the people there are dressed sharp, like all the people that work there. So he's like, excuse me, can you come and take my bag? And the guy, said, sure, let me get someone on it. And he said, I'm not, I don't work here. I own the hotel. And it turned out that this guy, just because he assumed, oh, this guy's from India, he must be working here, made a wrong assumption. And yet the guy was like a super, either millionaire or billionaire, but like very, very, very wealthy, and made the comedian look like a bit of a fool, because we did this generalization. Now, at the same time, like I said, we all do this generalization thing in our lives, but it's important to realize that sometimes we get it wrong, and understanding, because we get it wrong and lots of times in our lives, the ability to help people get out of a generalization is very powerful if you're leading people, if you're coaching people, if you're helping people, if you're doing it for yourself. So just to give you an idea, in our general lives, we do, like, you'll see this. A lot of people will say these phrases. I am victim to a lot of these generalizations in my life. I've been victim to all men are, all Arabs are, all Muslims are. And these were generalizations that have been placed, and I've been victim to other people's thought patterns. But we also do it in our own lives. We assume all people are, etc. But we do it for behaviors in our life. I could never speak in public. That's a generalization. You always embarrass me. That's a generalization. So understanding how this works, and we have to, like I said, because we are constantly taking in so much information, our brain has to generalize in order for us to function effectively. So let me give you a quick couple of categories of generalization so that you understand and you can recognize when someone is using it. So if someone says the words always, I always do this, I never do this, or I or you, or every time, this happens every time, this happens all the time, all people are, everything. You see, when we're generalizing for everything, that's what we call a universal quantifier, and that can lead to a lot of issues. When someone says this always happens, does it always happen? Always? All men are. All men? All men? What about your forefathers and your example? All men? This never goes right. Or I could never do this. These are what we call universal quantifiers. And to challenge them effectively, you have to ask the question by challenging the actual phrase that they've used to universally quantify. So if they said always, you go always? Every single time you find a counter example, right? This never, like I can never get anything right. Never get anything right. Never. Like, have you, like, you aren't able to write, and like you weren't able to put on your clothes today? You like never get anything right. Now I know this sounds, but just by challenging it, by challenging that phrase, they go, okay, of course I was able to put on my clothes. But what I mean is, and already you're making the problem from everything in the world to a smaller bit. And just by challenging it even more, you bring it smaller. You're never able to speak in public. Never. Like if you walked outside the door, you would not be able to say something. And they'll look at you like, what are you? Of course I can do that. But you have literally taken their problem, which is as big as everything in their mind, and all of a sudden you've broken it down just by challenging it that. Because then they go, no, of course I can speak outside. What I mean is when I'm speaking to a group of people. And so you say, never speak to a group of people. So like if, your children were outside, you would not be able to speak to them. No, okay, I mean, and then they break it down further. And the problem becomes smaller and smaller and smaller, and then becomes solvable. It's such a powerful technique to be able to question people, to break their problem down so that it becomes solvable. So you want to challenge where it's relevant. Now, also for ourselves, when we ourselves say, I never get it right, or I always make mistakes in etc. Sometimes we can just change the way we've said things. So I've never planned my day. I never plan my day. So you can change something and just say, up until now, add these 3 magical words. Up until now, I haven't planned my day. Or I always get it wrong, or I always make mistakes. You can change your whole future. You change your whole programming in your mind by just adding 3 magical words. Up until now, I used to get things wrong all the time. Up until now. What we've done is, it's so simple, but you've literally taken this big problem that you've programmed into your mind and just converted it by saying, up until now, I had a problem. So you're acknowledging that there was a problem, but you've put it behind you. And now I choose to do things the right way. And now I choose. So up until, instead of saying, I always get things wrong. Up until now, I made a lot of mistakes. Already you've implied to your mind, you've programmed into your mind that that's in the past, I'm not going to make mistakes anymore. So very, very powerful if you're doing it for yourself. Like I said, if you're challenging someone else, you just want to find the question, the phrase always, and challenge that. Now, the next one is something called modal operators of necessity. When someone says, I need to, you must get this report done by tomorrow. You have to, or I have to, or someone, when someone says, I need, must, have to, they're using something called a modal operator of necessity. They're basically making it something a rule. And when you want to work with somebody, you have to understand, what is this rule? Where's the origin of the rule? So if someone says, I must have this report by tomorrow, or you need to have this report by tomorrow, you got to understand what are the rules? What are the rules that are going inside of their mind? In order, you want to recover that bit of information. So you understand, you ask the question, what would happen if you didn't? What would happen if we didn't get the report by tomorrow? What would happen if this didn't happen? So you say, what would happen if it didn't happen? Like, it's a rule. It's a rule. What are the consequences? Let's find that out. And then, well, it would be late. Okay, that's not a big deal. That's fine. So you want to understand the need by asking these questions. Another one is like a modal operator possibility. So when someone says, I cannot, cannot, may not, possible, impossible. So when someone says, oh, I cannot do this, or I may not do, it's impossible to do that, you want to retrieve the options. You want to turn from the impossible side, from the cannot side to the can side, from the impossible side to the possible side. So you ask questions like, what stops you? I can't go there. What stops you from going there? You want to understand, when we ask these questions, you are understanding more of someone's world, more of where they're thinking, how they think. It's impossible for me to speak on stage. What stops you? And then you get a better quality information that you can deal with a lot more effectively. So and you are able, again, you can use these 3 magical words to change your own thinking. So if you say, I cannot speak on stage, you can also say to yourself, up until now, I wasn't able to speak on stage. Just add those 3 words. Up until now, I wasn't able to speak on stage. But now I choose to push my comfort zone. But now I choose to, up until now, something. So if you found that you've been saying something to yourself for a long time in your life, I never, or I cannot do this, it's impossible for me to do this, you can start to just train your mind by saying, up until now, I found it impossible. You see, past tense. I found it impossible to do this. But now I choose to push my comfort zone. And just like that, I know it's a simple phrase, but we are how we think. We are our language patterns. Our behaviors come from our language patterns, the way that we think. And so if you just change these little phrases, it's not like such a dramatic shift. But just adding these words will dramatically change the way that you behave and feel about different categories in your life. So that's it for this video. We've been talking about a category in NLP called generalizations. It's part of the Metamodel. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you're interested in finding out more about NLP, or in practicing, like getting some hands-on experience, because this is easily learned when you're doing it in an audience, in a group, then definitely check out uaenlp.com. If you haven't not as well, please do subscribe to my channel. Subscribe at youtube.com/Muneer. I appreciate you. I hope you found this video very interesting, and I will catch you on another video very, very soon. Peace out, one love, and I will see you on another video soon. Bye for now.